Hi, my name is Abigail Julian, and I'm from Professor Gauck's Business 101 class, and today I'm going to give a book review on the book, The Charlton Story. The Charlton Story is written by Earl Perry Charlton II, which is actually Earl Charlton's son, and George Winnis. And this is a biography on his father. And what this book entails is it goes through his life as becoming one of the up-and-coming entrepreneurs and one of the 5 members who starts the F.W. Woolworth Company, which sells 5 to 10 cent items. He was born in 1863, which means that he was brought up during part of the time of the Civil War, and he dies in 1930, which he dies during what would be the beginning of the Depression. Earl Charlton starts out living not exactly in Fall River, but he ends up where that is where his base is out of. The base of his company starts up in Fall River, Massachusetts, on Pleasant Street. Earl Charlton becomes a merchant, and basically what that does is they buy and sell items for a marketable amount of more than what they purchased it for. He starts up and he was partnered with a man by the name of Knox and also by another man by the name of Woolworth, which is what later becomes their large company together. And they work with each other for some time, but they have some disagreements, but it's a friendly thing, and they end up going their separate ways and become friendly competition. Unlike his competitors that he was partnered with, Earl doesn't stay in New England, although he does have his base still out of Fall River, Massachusetts, and another store in Connecticut. He spreads majority-wise westward. He's one of the first companies to start working in Canada. He has several companies based out of Canada and all different places there. And then he spreads westward. He has many companies in Washington, majority-wise, though, in California. And that his big boom was mostly in the west. While his competitors, it was not the same. Many of them New York, New England, the middle of the country. But he chose the west. And he ended up, I believe, having 53 companies, 53 businesses at one point, spread throughout mostly the West and then some in New England. It also goes through his life of who he worked with. He worked with a man by the name of Seymour, and that man was one of his partners, basically his right-hand man that he worked with. And the right-hand man, basically, he was the guy who would go around from store to store and travel around and making sure his stores worked well. So Earl had a very good hold on his businesses. He himself didn't travel around because he had to stay at the base and control the amount of numbers, go through paperwork and such. But he had people who would go out and check the stores, make sure everything was functioning. If there was a problem, he would fix it. And that man can work for him for very many years. And then finally, right before the merge, he had stopped working for him. And when it came through to the merge, Seymour actually stopped working because under F.W. Woolworth, there was a thing about they didn't like having Jewish people work for them, and he was Jewish, so he stopped working for them. But as they came together, goes through how he becomes successful, and then he partners up with 5 men by the name of one is Kirby, the other one is Knox, F.W. Woolworth, another Woolworth, which is Charlie Woolworth, and then Earl himself. And then these 5 people together make a company that is by all means successful millionaires during the time of which it would be during early 1900s, and they come to work together. It goes through all of his successes. Earl Charlton wasn't a man who was greedy by any means. He had a family. He married a woman named Ida at some point, and they had 3 children, Ruth, Virginia, and Earl Perry Charlton II, which is the one who wrote the book. He starts very many things. He has the Charlton School of Business, which is what the school that I'm going to. Charlton Hospital. They do a lot of different scholarships. They have professorship. They have Charlton Hall. They have very many things. He started up a lot of things. He started up a lot of charities. Started a lot of events. Did a lot of things for the community in itself. So he didn't keep all of his money together. He would share it. It also talked a lot about the fact that there was one major thing that they focused on as a business, which I think is very important as a business student. And I tagged it in the book just to make sure. Woolworth's success has been built on the idea that expansion must depend on time, labor, and money it can save for the largest number of people. Basically explaining that a business can be successful, and a person can be successful in business being an entrepreneur if you can save people time, money, or labor.